champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mi Casa Su Casa _ DIY. I'm Mr. Cancino, and we're going to start with our kitchen remodel. All right, first thing we're going to go with before we go any further is we are going to paint our countertops, starting with the island. So that way, if we don't like the outcome, we didn't damage the whole kitchen and we can decide where to go from there, right? So let us be your guinea pigs. We're going to go step by step. If you like the outcome as well as hopefully we do, then you'll know exactly how to do your countertops. Okay, we do have granite countertops. You can paint over them, doing the steps that we're going to be going over. You can do this over laminate, wood, pretty much almost any surface. I think probably except concrete, unless it's like your garage floors. People, epoxy their garage floors, put the flakes and stuff, make it look nice and shiny. So there's a lot of surfaces that you can do this on. We have granite countertops. Everybody's probably like, but you have granite countertops. That's nice. The color isn't the scheme that we're wanting to go with for our house, right? So we're gonna attempt to change the island. And again, if we like it, and it comes out the way we are imagining, then we're gonna do the rest of the kitchen. And then we'll be doing backsplash, redoing the cabinets, uppers and lowers, all that good stuff, and hopefully have a brand new looking kitchen of what we are wanting. Okay, so first things first is just taping, okay? Getting everything taped off, putting plastic so that way it doesn't drip down your cabinets, putting down paper so that way your floors don't get any of the materials that we're gonna be using. At the end of the project, we will be giving you a total of what we spent so that way you can see how much you would save if you were to do the same thing, okay? Give or take. But we're gonna show you the cost-effective way to do this if you don't have the money to hire a professional to do it, okay? Professionals are good, they know what they're doing, but some of us don't have those funds. So we just wanna try to do it ourselves, okay? Pretty simple. So after you're done prepping, taping the area, to start now with the surface, TSP, okay? It is a all-purpose heavy-duty cleaner. All you're gonna do is with the spray bottle or pour a little bit on the surface, wipe it down, get a lot of that grease and gunk off the top. Pretty much that's it. Nothing crazy about this, it's just a simple cleaner, but it's just heavy duty and will break down a lot of the grease. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. Doesn't take much, don't need to be perfect with it, and you're just trying to pretty much just a nice wipe down. Just like that. It's a little wet, so we're gonna let it dry and then we'll be back with step 2. All right, so we cleaned our surface and next step is going to be to sand it down. Granite obviously has a nice shiny coating on it, right? So we just wanna scuff that up really nice so that way our primer and our paint and everything, it just builds a better adhesive for it, okay? We're gonna be using 60 grit sanding paper. 60, 80 is probably the most you want to go. Nothing up to the 100s and 200s, obviously. 60 and 80 grit is good for stripping. So that's what we want to do is strip the surface, get it nice and scuffed up, so that way we can get to step 3, which is priming it. And we'll go into that more in just a bit. But for now, you can do it by hand or with a sander, okay? Orbital or just your regular hand sanders, whichever you're comfortable with. Here we go. All right, so we're done sanding the island, okay? That's step 2. Now between step 2 and step 3, just wipe all the dust off, okay? Even if you have a sander with a built-in vacuum hose so that way the dust doesn't get around. You're still gonna need to wipe off the dust from the countertop just to get a nice clean surface off of it. So you didn't have to get a perfect sanding job done. Okay, you just wanted to rough up the surface. Next is going to be putting on our primer. Okay, we're using this Zinsser Bullseye Primer, water-based. We're using water-based because we are going to be using a latex paint. Okay, if you were going to use an enamel, you would want to use the oil base. Water base for our the type of paint we're using, which is going to be latex. Okay, so my lovely assistant here, the great value Joanna Gaines, also known as her Christian name is Ana Cancino. She's going to be priming. It's very simple. We're just going to kind of spread the primer on there, and she's going to roll it and make sure that it's evenly all over. You're not trying to be perfect. You are trying to cover the whole surface. You don't have to be perfect with it. You don't have to be in straight lines or whatnot. This is just so that way the paint will take real nicely. Okay, so very easy step to do, but needed. All right, so right, we shook it up some, so that way it's mixed nicely. And then I'm just gonna pour it. I'm just gonna pour it, and then Anna's just gonna go and spread it out, covering all of our surface that we need to paint and that we're gonna epoxy. Thin layer, does not need to be thick. So this primer should go a long ways for you, because you don't need much. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be thick. You just want to get it all over the whole surface. We're also using a 6-inch foam roller. Foam is good because it won't leave any other bristles or anything like that. So it helps eliminate some of that possibility of leaving something on your surface that you probably can't get out later because the epoxy is going to harden on you. So pretty simple, as you can see, nothing too complex. Cover everything you're going to be working on. So don't worry about the underneath part, really. Just want to get the top and get the sides really good. And again, don't have to be a thick layer. It's okay if you can kind of still see through it, as long as the surface is covered primarily. This is step 3, priming the surface. Next, we're going to be painting, and we'll be back here in just a little bit once we finish this part. All right, so we have finished step 3, which was priming our countertop. All right, it's dry, so we're ready for step 4, which is putting paint. We're going with a paint and primer in one, and then you go with whatever color you want to go with. We're going with the interior flat ultra pure white. Okay, so it's we want to do a white base, and then you can do veins and detail of other colors after you do your base color. So next step is to paint your base color. The way we're doing it is different from others where they'll mix it with the epoxy. We're going to prime, we're going to do paint, and then we'll do the epoxy with some detail on it. But this one's, again, pretty easy, just like the primer. We're going to spread some paint around, paint it real good. You do want a good coat. We're going to be putting 2 coats. Okay, so you want to make sure and paint it very well and make sure that it looks good. Then the second coat as well will cover all the little minor blemishes from the first coat. Okay, so pretty simple. Same thing like we did with the primer. Just pour some or put it on your paintbrush, your roller, We're using 4-inch or 6-inch foam rollers, so we don't leave any bristles or anything. And then you're just laying it out, and then you're gonna let it dry, and then we'll come back to you with step 5, which is mixing our epoxy, getting the top on, and then doing the veins and detail and stuff. So pretty simple process so far. Hopefully you're following along and you're getting as excited as we are. This is gonna be a big change. It's gonna look really awesome, I believe. So we'll see you here in a little bit for the epoxy process. Later. All right, guys, welcome back. So we are about to do our epoxy, but before we go any further, I want to let you guys in on a mistake, so that way you don't make the same thing happen. I didn't sand the top properly. So when I put my primer, let it dry, then I started doing my paint because it wasn't tacked. It wasn't on a good surface. It was just a clear surface. My primer and my paint were just kind of peeling off. So I sanded it all off, sanded the countertop better, gave it a nice rough feel with 60 grit sandpaper, and then we put the primer back on, paint back on, and now we're good and ready to go. So learn from me that you need to make sure and sand the first time. It'll save you some time and some trouble. But we're gone with the white paint top, so we're painted is on. And now we're gonna be doing the epoxy, okay? Got the epoxy here. We did an even mixture in our mix here, okay? It goes 1 for 1. I've already pre-mixed the first one. And just follow the instructions. It's usually a 1 for 1. You usually have to mix it for 2, 4, 6 minutes, just depending on what kind of epoxy you got. The spray paint is gonna be for the detail look that we wanna give to it. This will be shortly after you spray it and spread it. Then you'll go move on to spray painting. I'm gonna use a trowel to spread it, paintbrush to make sure you get the edges, and then to also chop, which I'll explain that here in a little bit. So first thing is we are going to pour our epoxy. And this is where the fun begins. So little by little, you do want to be careful. This is where it kind of gets a little messy. Then you're just going to spread it. Just try to get it evenly across. For now, just get close to the edges, but not exactly on the edges. Now right now we're just spreading. After we're done spreading and we got it all spread out evenly, it'll set itself and will kind of level off. So the goal is just to spread it and get it all across the surface. Epoxy will start hardening about 30-40 minutes after the spread, just depending on how much it is. So you have time. It's no big hurry, but it is going to be a little quicker than paint. got our epoxy down. Looks really good. Nice glass looking finish. Now this is where the fun part comes in, right? Because as this is drying and dripping and not quite settled, this is where you get to design it and do whatever kind of look you want it to have. So, we're doing Rust-Oleum metallic gold look. Okay, this is actually a champagne bronze and a silver metallic Rust-Oleum spray paints. Okay, primarily going to do the gray. It's going to give it a nice little sparkly, shimmery look, and then we're going to give little bronze accents in case we go with, because we're probably going to go with like a bronze or a copper hardware. So this will definitely, you know, kind of give it a little pop. So we'll start off with our silver. You're going to get your paint stick, all right? The method we're using, we're getting a paint stick. And we're going to paint on the stick and then just kind of give it little lines and detail to kind of give it that marble look. So you do however you want. There's no right or wrong way, really. Now it's just kind of like drawing. It's like just being artsy about it. Spray your paint. You're going to spray it on the stick, or you can spray it directly on your surface, however you want to do it. We don't want too much on there. So yeah, now we'll spray our tops. All right, ready for this? Don't forget your edges. And at first you might kind of be like, oh, this isn't looking so great, this isn't. But we're going to show you how to get it all nice and going after a second. Paintbrush. And just go over those paint areas. All right, so we have got it on, okay? We added our color, pretty decent for our first time. I think we could have done a couple of little things different. The gold was really heavy, that bronze was really heavy. So we'll know better on the rest of the countertops, maybe to tone it down on the gold a little bit. But we're gonna let it dry off, cure. What we need to do now is we're gonna get a blow dryer. If you have a torch, a small butane torch, use that, and you're gonna go over it here in a little bit to get rid of these air bubbles and stuff. So you can use a blow dryer, or you can use your butane torch. And you're just gonna go through and just about 2 or 3 inches over your surface and get rid of those air bubbles and stuff. And then just let it start sitting. You'll have to go around and make sure to get all the drippings so that way it doesn't dry and have all these drip marks on the sides. You'll get those as it thickens up a little bit so that way you can scrape it off and have nice clean rounded corners. But other than that, we're pretty much done with this one, and we'll let it sit and dry and decide if we like it and can go over with the next one. But we definitely learned a lot off of this first one, so we'll look for the next one. All right, we'll be back with you with the final result here shortly. Talk to you a little bit.
We're going all the way this time.
Turn up the lights, young baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see this. Turn up the lights, young baby. You know I don't need, want you to see everything. Want you to see all of the lights. I tried to tell you, but all I can say is I tried to tell you, but all I can say is I tried to tell you, but all I can say I tried to tell you, but all I can say.
Okay, so there you have it. That is us painting our granite countertops from the dark black brown color that they were to this white, more vibrant light color that the wifey wanted, right? Happy wife, happy life. So we're gonna give you a price breakdown on what we didn't spend and then what we did spend. All right, so we have 90 square feet of countertop space. At a big box store, what we liked, this right here, the cheapest rate was $43 a square foot. That comes out to $3,800 in just countertops, not installation or labor or anything like that if you were to go with a contractor or the big box installing it for you. The most expensive rate for the look we would have gone with was $71 a square foot, which is $6,300 in countertops. All right, so that's what we didn't spend. What we're about to show you is what we did spend, and I think it's going to inspire you and at the same time blow your socks off on how we got this for a very minimal cost. Anna?
Yes, so definitely. So what we did spend was epoxy costed us $250, paint was $25, primer cost us $15, spray, the spray paint was $12, the sandpaper was $20, and the miscellaneous supplies, which is the rollers, the buckets, the stir sticks, that ran us $50. Guys, I don't know if you kept up, that ran us less than $400. What, $380?
About.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we spent as opposed to about 4,000 plus just to have it professionally done and professionally installed. And the pictures in the video don't really show it justice because I think it looks great in person. In videos, in pictures, I'm like, but you see it in person and I'm really blown away every time. I'm like, wow, we painted this. Like, this looks like granite, quartz, marble. It looks like high quality. And I'm very surprised by that, not saying that we're great and professionals because this is our first time.
Right.
But just how easy it is, it's really awesome to see. see what you can do. So as you can see, a lot of the rest of the kitchen got done, so stand by for those videos. They'll be coming to you very soon, I promise. Now that the big job is done, I have time to get some videos out to you. So subscribe, share with your friends and family, spread the word that Mi Casa Su Casa _DIY is here to help you save money and also beautify your home and let your vision of what you want your home to look like come to life. So stick with us, and I promise you, we'll lead you right.
Bye guys.
Welcome to my house.
It's my house.